Hey, how's it going? Vladimir Adonis here. Welcome to another episode of the Business Convo Marketing Podcast. You already know it. Podcast designed to give you tips and strategies to help you win. So today, the topic that I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about the notion of you need to get rid of your cookie cutter sales strip in order to start gaining true results. So what I noticed and what I know for a fact is that some organizations and some companies they have what we call a cookie cutter approach to a sales strip. And that sales strip, they give that sales strip to everyone within the sales department. And those individuals are supposed to use that quote unquote strip to try and get results. I know that that's one of the things that was handed to me many years ago when I worked in a sales department. So I worked in the sales department for this organization. And as with any organization, there's the sales department, there's the finance department, there's accounting, there's all of these different, there's all of these different departments. So I was handed the exact same, same trip as everyone else within the sales department. And for months, I tried selling without any results whatsoever. It was a miserable time. It was not fun times, to be honest with you. And had it not been for some of my financial responsibilities, for some of my obligations at that point, I would not have stayed around. But I stuck around as long as I possibly could. And then one day I was playing basketball with one of the guys who was over the finance department. So you have sales, you have finance. I was playing basketball with one of the guys that was at the finance department over the finance department. And the way that I played the basketball, I didn't really allow a lot of things to get to me. So fouls and people arguing, people getting into all of these different commotions. I kept a cool, level-headed. I was very cool and I was very level-headed. So I did that on multiple occasions, and on multiple occasions, this individual had been observing me without me even knowing. And I think after about 3 or 4 different times. First of all, I didn't even know this person was over that department. It was a huge company, and I didn't really know everyone in that company. So this individual approached me and said, "You know what? Hey, man, I really just like your tone, your demeanor, and the way that you kind of just respond to some of the things that are going on the basketball court." And he essentially told me that, "Hey, I know if you respond the way that you respond on the basketball court, I could only imagine how you would respond to some of the things that's going to be thrown at you, some of the situations, some of the scenarios." That's going to be thrown at you while you're in the office. I would like to interview you for a role in my department. Now, mind this was one of those things that did not happen, right? A guy coming from the sales department to first of all to get interviewed for the finance department. That was a huge no-no. That didn't happen because it almost felt as though the person was trying to escape one area and go to a different area. So it was not encouraged at all. It was not one of those things that the company embraced. So it was very, very difficult to happen. I started to learn all of this after the fact. So it was one of those things that just didn't happen. And then, second of all, for it to actually go through and be successful, it was a rare instance, a rare situation. So long story short, I ended up getting the role, and I think that's one of the things that saved me. That's one of the things specifically that saved me from not losing the job, not losing the job altogether, is because I was able to interview and I made a good impression by way of playing basketball. Who knew, right? I made a good impression, and because I made a good impression, this person hired me in the finance department. Man, it was a huge load off my back personally, to be honest with you, and I will forever be in debt for this specific individual. So I went ahead and I transitioned to this finance department, and I started to work in the finance department. Obviously, the finance department, this was a huge organization, so the sales department was very, very big. But I continue as I transitioned over to the finance department, as I continued working with the finance department. I think what made me work very well in that organization was because I understood and knew some of the pain points of the individuals in the sales department. And one of the things that was not so pleasant is that I continue to watch people kind of just transition out, people from the sales department specifically, because they couldn't get this whole sales thing to work out for them. They couldn't get the sales script to work out for them. And I just continue to watch that happen over and over and over and over again. If you're listening to this, you probably know someone that worked for a sales department that was confined to this cookie cutter, sales script that just wasn't successful. And I would almost go to say that they were not successful because of that cookie cutter approach in terms of a sales script that didn't really have much flexibility. Needless to say that I hate sales scripts. As we're recording this, I don't like them. I'm completely against them because I feel as though it puts you in a box. You're confined, and you don't have the flexibility to be as fluent as you possibly can be. So if I hate sales script, what do I vouch for instead? The thing that I vouch for instead is I vouch for templates. And essentially, one of the things that I see now as I work with and speak to many business owners, as I work with different clients, is that I see some of that same symptom, to be honest with you, coming into their different businesses. I see people kind of using a cookie cutter approach to business. I see them using a cookie cutter approach sales script that I know that a lot of times didn't really work in the previous environment, in the environments that I come from. I'm really against it anyway. I don't like the thing. So because I don't like the thing, I usually speak, very against it. And I think I know that there's a better way to do it, as opposed to using that specific model. Because what that model forces you to do is it forces you to use the same thing over and over again, the same thing that perhaps may not necessarily be working. It may work for some individuals because obviously some people can use that cookie cutter approach and be successful. But at the same time, I just see so many people leave organizations or ask to leave or whatever the case may be, or get fired as a result of not properly using or making this sales script work for them. And I think there's definitely a better way. There could have been, or there is a better way for those specific individuals to have had a lot more success had they been given a little bit more flexibility, or had they been given a template. So for me, a template is so much more, practical and so much more successful, because with the template, I can plug in something in that specific formula, and I'm not bound to just using that specific section. So if I'm using the template that has a headline, it has body, and it has a call to action, right? If I am speaking to a specific audience and I've tested a specific message as it relates to the headline, I'm talking about a specific pain point. If that pain point doesn't work, right, I can collect data specifically with the methodologies that I use and the methodologies that I teach. I can collect data, and that data will tell me, precisely if that headline resonates with a specific audience. And if it doesn't, guess what I'm going to do? I'm not going to keep using that same headline. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to find the right message. I'm going to find the right pain point that resonates, because I'm going to be able to use the data, and I'm going to be able to kind of just modify the template, because the template can give me many, many different versions of a specific headline. I'm going to be able to use that to modify my message, to modify my marketing, and be able to find the winning formula, so to speak. I'm not confined to, some type of a cookie cutter approach whereby I have to use something very, 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 very specific. So a cookie cutter approach, specifically for a sales script, that's the thing that I am, most certainly against. And in the next couple of episodes, one of the things that I'm going to be talking about as I'm collecting some more information is I'm going to be talking about, specific templates, and how those templates could help you to win in your win in your marketing. And we'll also just kind of talk about where you can use those specific templates. Can those templates be used via Facebook? Can those templates be used via different modalities in terms of your in terms of your marketing? Because I'm tired of seeing. I got very tired of seeing individuals, just kind of losing their jobs, losing opportunities for growth because of that specific cookie cutter approach. And I'm as guilty of that as well. And because that was the thing that I was accustomed to seeing when I started my own business, I started to kind of just use something very similar to that, to be honest with you. And then I really started to, when I went back and started to evaluate, I was like, oh, okay, so that's the issue that I had here. This is why this didn't work. This is why that didn't work. And it feels good, to be honest with you, when you can go back and we can evaluate and see that certain things didn't work, and you can identify precisely the reason why, why some of these things, can't, doesn't work. But I think a good starting point for many people, many business owners, is to start off by giving away something for free. You start off by giving something for free to your specific audience. And if you have that something for free, I mean, I teach you how to create. If you can download a free lead magnet how-to video on my website by going to VladimirDonis.com. Here's the thing, though: if you create a guide for your specific audience, you invite them to your funnel, to your website, or you want your funnel to be very specific. You invite them to your funnel to download your free guide, and they're not downloading your free guide. Well, there might be an issue. There could be an issue with the type of guide that you're providing them. Maybe you think that they need help with content marketing. That's their pain point. But their pain point is actually landing page optimization. Maybe you're giving them something for SEO optimization, but their pain point is website building. So you have to, as I've spoken about this on previous episodes, you have to do the pre-work before. You got to do the pre-work ahead of time, so that way you have a good understanding of your target audience, and you can prepare something that's going to help them solve a specific pain point. If you provide something to a specific audience that they're not looking for, guess what? They're not going to download it. They're not going to access it, and you're not going to be able to build a list. You're not going to be able to build a company. So the way that you do that is you do the work ahead of time, and when you do the work ahead of time, it will most certainly help you to be able to speak to that specific audience. It'll be able to help you to curate and put together the right content for them, so that way they can move through your funnel. And the reason why I advocate a funnel so much is because it just allows you to streamline your marketing and allows you to take away as many distractions as possible. If you're sending someone to a specific page and that specific page is asking them to do one thing and one thing only, right? You'll be able to quickly see, based on conversions, whether or not that message is resonating, whether or not that landing page is converting. Whereby if you send them to a landing page, or you send them to a website with 50,000 call to actions, and you ask them to do like 5 or 20 different things, and there's so many different things for them to do, or it's much harder to test that specific variation of a landing page as compared to what we call a marketing funnel. A marketing funnel is very specific. It sends them somewhere to do one specific thing in most instances, and that one specific thing allows them to take action. After they take action with that one specific thing, your next page can have more things for them to do, but you want to start off with just one thing and see if that one thing resonates. And if it doesn't, because you're using a template, right? The template, like similar to the template that I provided to you, that I'm giving away for free, I should say, via my website at VladimirDonis.com, you can modify the template, right? If you modify the template it's template. You're not confined to just using just one variation. You can use many different variations. And plus, you're going to be able to do the pre-work, just as I have suggested in previous episodes, to help you win. So I would say start off with using the lead magnet how-to video, because I truly know that that's one of the ways for you to begin to build an audience, to begin to build the following, so that way you can market to them over and over again. We're not huge corporations in most instances, so we don't have advertising dollars to keep marketing over and over again, which is why we want to go ahead and gain access to our target market, gain their information, so that we can continue having a conversation with them over and over again until they are ready to buy. So you're essentially providing value at a lower level, and then you can send them up the marketing funnel from there. So, make that happen. Download the free guide, do your research, and let's get going on this, on this template. And if you know someone that has, or that's using the cookie cutter, sales strip, or that's using that approach, tell them to get rid of it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm virtually taking a sheet of paper, right? That sheet of paper has a cookie cutter sales strip on it. That's what that virtual paper is. I'm folding it, I'm balling it, I am crumbling it, and I'm throwing it in a trash can because it's no longer good. It's no good. So get rid of it and just start using templates specifically that helps you to create and put together content that addresses both marketing and sales, because both of those things combined is what becomes very powerful. Hey, thanks for listening. I will talk to you soon. Cheers.